Is the internet computer already being planned for in 2026? Well, hypothetically, I would say maybe, yeah, even though nothing I say is financial advice, because Dfinity very recently made a post talking about how there's going to be something called World Computer Day. And again, this event, the World Computer Day, which is going to be in Davos, Switzerland, and it's going to be in January 20th, 2026. By the way, I've been to Switzerland twice before. However, besides that point, if I take a look at this right here, ICP may be at around $3, but is having an event like this a sign that Dfinity is doing bad? I think that hypothetically probably not, because if a project out there, or let's say an entity, if they're still hosting events, if they're still doing things, having appearances in this place or whatever, right? I don't think it's necessarily such a bad thing. I don't think it's a sign that they're hypothetically doing bad. Now, ICP at around $3, that's a completely different case, but that's the price of ICP, right? I think it sometimes doesn't truly reflect how well Dfinity is doing, in my perspective, in and of itself. But again, in terms of the price, is a completely different case. However, people may be thinking, okay, what is World Computer Day? Now, allegedly, it's a day dedicated to exploring, kind of AI and emerging technologies, basically. And when I take a look at something like this, I find it pretty interesting because the internet computer, when I first basically started dollar cost averaging into ICP, like AI, when it comes to it, wasn't such a big narrative. You know what I mean? But then now it's beginning to be talked more and more about when it comes to the case of Dfinity, and even supposedly the internet computer has an aspect of decentralized AI. So when I take a look at something like that, and also I take a look at Caffeine AI, right, which is allegedly a self-running apps platform, Dfinity, I think, did a pretty cool thing when it comes to that. The vibe when it comes to AI, I think, is a lot stronger than before, at least when I first started getting into ICP. However, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but having an event like this, it's not like it's hypothetically something that any project could do, right? It takes resources to do something like this. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes planning. So when I take a look at something like this, I am pretty, I guess, impressed with what I'm seeing them want to do. Is this kind of like directly, I guess, gonna improve the fundamentals of the internet computer? I think in a fundamental standpoint of view, probably not, but there could hypothetically be more partnerships. Who knows, right? That could happen as a result of this. It's not that it's gonna happen, but hypothetically, I would assume that if they didn't have this event, wouldn't the hypothetical, kind of possibility of something like that be less? Because imagine, let's say some other projects out there that are focused on AI or something like that, they attend this event, or just some other projects overall, generally speaking, and then let's say they take a look at their computer, or let's say some developers, this can maybe, I think, open more doors, right? Hypothetically, in that sense. It does not necessarily mean that it's going to be the case, but sometimes partnerships, collaborations, they could come from attending events. So yeah, that's just the way I take a look at it. However, when I take a look at the past speakers that have done this event before, I take a look at, for instance, the chairman and CEO of the Pro companies. I take a look at the founder and managing partner of Skybridge Capital. We've seen some historical speakers here that I think showcase that it's not being taken as such a event that no one really cares about, right? That's how I'd put it. It's not being taken lightly, I suppose, because if it was, I don't think this type of stuff would be a hypothetical possibility. So I do like the concept of this. I like the idea of them having an event or something like that, because I think it just showcases a place where there's the Dfinity team over there, and then maybe they can interact with developers or something like that, and maybe just have a better understanding, right, of what the internet computer is all about, I suppose. However, to me, I mean, yeah, ICP is not doing the best. I'm totally aware of that. But at the same time, I'm still dollar cost averaging. This is not something I have to do, though, but I voluntarily decided to do so once a month. Clearly, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but why am I doing that? Well, it's because I still like the fundamentals of Dfinity and also what they seem to be trying to do. And it's not only just because of this event, right? I take a look at it just overall, again, when it comes to the internet computer, when I take a look at aspects of Caffeine AI and all this type of stuff. But people like to say, well, it's still not doing good. However, it's not only ICP that's not doing good. Like Solana's having a pullback, generally speaking, from where it once was. We take a look at even something like Ethereum. We take a look at, let's say, something like in the case of Algorand. I mean, a bunch of projects. Even Bitcoin is, as of right now, slightly below 90 grand. So it's not only just ICP, but the thing is, it's a little bit more amplified when it comes to ICP because despite being top 45 right now in terms of market cap within this space, it is just naturally going to have more of these drastic movements because it's not like a top 10 altcoin, right? And just by nature, because it is an altcoin, it's not going to be as stable as something like, for instance, in the hypothetical case of Bitcoin. However, if let's say this was something that I didn't really want to be involved with in the first place, I mean, I could easily just exit right now. Like, no one is telling me to do this or not, right? Like, even if someone did tell me that, I would be making the decision on my own, right? Whether or not someone told me yes or no or something like that. So then I'm just still staying patient. I mean, I guess that's all I can do. But in the meantime, that's all I will do. But I wanted to make this video real quick to talk about them even hypothetically talking about the World Computer Day in 2026, which I find pretty impressive considering how it's not like they necessarily had to, I guess, but it could hypothetically, who knows, maybe help its future, right? Maybe there's more developments, more collaborations, who knows. However, yeah, overall, ICP is still over 30 times lower than $100, but I'm going to just stay patient. That's my mindset as of right now, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll have a nice day. I greatly appreciate it. It's Willie the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.